Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Teaching Math. In today's video I will explain the basics of graphs. Graphs are an important way of showing information and it's fundamental for you to be able to read them. Most, if not all graphs, are made in a coordinate plane. So if you have still some trouble making a coordinate plane or using coordinates, I'll advise you to watch the previous video again. With that out of the way, let's start the video. A graph is a line in a coordinate plane that shows information about a certain situation. With a graph, the coordinate plane will receive several small changes. First of all, the coordinate plane will often have a name. Secondly, the labels will change to give information about the subject. The x's are normally not labeled x and y in these situations, but have a different label. The labels can tell you if something changes every hour, minute, or even seconds. The x's themselves can also change. Normally they start at 0 and each square is worth 1. But in some situations, the x's can also have a different step size. Let me show you this with the following graph. This graph shows the amount of people in a museum during the day. The title tells us that this is the Escher Museum in The Hague. The axes are different as well. The horizontal axis shows the time of day and starts at 8 o'clock. The vertical axis shows the amount of people inside the museum at a given time, and it has steps of 20. The museum opens their door at 9 o'clock. And as you can see, there were 50 people inside the museum at 10 o'clock, and it increased to 60 visitors in that following hour. You can also see that at 14 o'clock there were 120 people inside the museum. And as the amount of people is 0 at 18 o'clock, you can safely assume that the museum is then closed. In some cases, multiple graphs can be drawn in one coordinate plane. This way you can quickly compare the two. When doing so, a legend will give you more information about the graphs. In this coordinate plane, you see two athletes running the 10 kilometers. You'll immediately notice that athlete B starts at the 10-minute mark. That's because I gave the first athlete a 10-minute head start on athlete B, just to make it more interesting. As you can see, athlete B is running way faster to catch up with his rival, and he does so after 30 minutes. But by running with everything he got, he tired himself out. And this gave athlete A the chance to overtake him and still win the race. By conserving his strength and running at a regular pace, athlete A managed to win the race. He has run the 10K in 65 minutes and athlete B came in 5 minutes later. On to the next part, double axes. As the name suggests, this is when coordinate plane has two different vertical axes. My personal opinion is that nobody should ever make use of this feature. But there are still people who think that these types of graphs are useful, so it is for the best if you know how to use them. If two graphs need to be shown in one coordinate plane, but their numbers are vastly different, you could use different axes. An easy example is this one. Here you see the profit of two factories. Factory A has had an increase in profit in the last year, while Factory B's profit has decreased. Although it looks as if the two factories have made the same profit in May of last year, they actually didn't. That's because for Factory A you have to look at the left axis and for Factory B the right axis. Which means that in May, Factory A has made a profit of 44,000 euros and Factory B made just over 5,500 euros. So be sure to pay attention to the axis the graph belongs to and make sure to check if the intersection point has any value at all. With that out of the way, on to the final part of this paragraph. Rough graphs. A rough graph is a type of graph that doesn't show you the exact numbers for the situation. You still get information about it and the axes themselves, but without any numbers. This means you don't know exactly what happens at a given time, but you can still make a conclusion based on the shape of the graph. In this example, you see the rough graph that shows the speed of Maarten on his bicycle. This part of the graph is increasing, meaning that Maarten is speeding up. Here, the graph stays at the same height, meaning his speed is constant. He doesn't stop, he drives at a constant speed. But he does stop at some point. Over here, Maarten's speed goes down all the way to the horizontal axis, meaning his speed is then 0 km per hour. As this isn't his destination, he probably had to stop for a traffic light. And this little bump is maybe when he had to make a corner. Drawing conclusions from just the shape of a graph can help you tremendously, so be sure to practice this. And that's the end of this video. In the next episode, I will teach you how to make a graph of your own. We'll start with making a graph from a table and then one from scratch. I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye bye!